Members, I begin by drawing the attention of the House to Table 1 on the page marked with Roman numeral 7 of my book, Steve, that I've got here. You will notice that the heading on the table tells us that the money we are debating today is not in thousands but in millions. So, therefore, this leads one to the conclusion that we are remarkably today voting on spending 31 trillion of resource and capital and 26 trillion in cash, going by the book, which must have been rushed out the door. If only it were so, Principal Deputy Speaker. Mind you, given the bill which was debated earlier in this House, the MLA one, indeed, one would be forgiven for thinking that some in this building do not regard that as a typo. My goodness, if His Majesty's Treasury is going to be that generous to Northern Ireland, perhaps then we, even at a stretch, could manage to pay for that once coveted bridge over to Scotland.
I also wish to correct the record from yesterday evening, if that's permissible. Mr Gaston raised an issue in relation to a table on page 7 of the spring supplementary estimates. Mr Gaston is correct. The table has set out the spends in millions instead of hundreds of thousands. I have asked for that to be corrected, and a letter will be forwarded to the Finance Committee, and also the correction of the record will also be placed in the library as well for members. And I apologise to the House for that error. I have asked my officials to examine as to how that came about.
I also, Madam Principal Deputy Speaker, want to touch on the question of scrutiny, because Mr Gaston is right to point out a typographical error in the Spring Supplementary Estimates document. It's our job to take seriously the scrutiny of these documents, and insofar as we are able to understand them, they aren't that hideously complicated. One of my great frustrations is that individual statutory committees, I think, barely scrutinise these documents at all. But the honest truth is they're in a better position to understand why money might have moved around in their individual departments than the Finance Committee is. If you look at some of the